Slightly late start again, as per usual. So I had some defective stuff happen with the last stuff I was casting, so I'm trying to get this last pelvis part done because I want to have like a complete figure, and all that's left is to get a good cast of the pelvis. So I've been running into a little bit of an issue with the pelvis, wherein the central pegs have been breaking. So I had like a peg break. Let's see if I've got it. I think I got the scrap parts here. Yeah. So there's this one and this one. So in this, the peg broke off here. Let me get this to focus. Yeah, so you can see it here. That broke off, so that's no good. And then this one, this is another cast, and this peg is crooked. So these need to be redone. So I'm going to do that first. I'm really bad at judging the temperature in here. Okay, so I need to recast the pelvis, which should be these two molds. And then I'm gonna set this up in the oven after it's done casting and just bake the whole thing before I attempt to pull it, because I think somewhere in there is where it got messed up. I definitely need to make finger holes on future molds where I can pull this apart. Okay, so I'm gonna put on the respirator, and then I'm gonna dust these with mold release, and then I'll start prepping the resin. Okay, so just gotta put a little mold release on these and set them aside. Okay, and then I'll need a dump mold, just another mold I have that excess resin can go into. So I've been using this. It's some of the Glios pegs. So that's one. And then let's see what this one is. I need to start labeling things so it's easier for me to figure out what I've got. These are hands, so I'll dust these as well. Okay. I'll set these off to the side to dry. When I get the resin ready, so I'm going to try to match that red. It's probably not going to be that close, but I'll do the best I can. So I want it to look something like sorry, I'm grabbing parts off the side here. Make it look something like that. So we use that as a reference. Okay, so let's see. The pelvis should be about 20 mLs. So we got a couple containers out. Doing really small amounts is difficult. You can do it, but it can be tough to mix up the right amount. So I tend to go a little over. See, so with those hands. So we'll do the hands too. We'll just count that in. It looks like I haven't recorded it based on my notes here. So I'm going to guess the hands based on my previous molds are around 5 mLs a piece. So that should be 10 between the two of them, 10 for, or 20 for the pelvis. We're looking at 30, so we'll do 15 a piece. Okay. So we'll get on our dyes. I'm going to start with a small amount of black. Just to, this doesn't look like it uses any black. So actually we'll skip the black on this one. We'll just go with just the red. So, I have 3 dyes I'm going to use. So I have this Casting Craft transparent. It's not that strong. This is a Smooth On brand red, and this is a Smooth On brand orange. So at the moment I have to kind of combine different dyes to get certain colors, not unlike paint. This is very like Merlot. This is also kind of it's a bit more red than the other. But I'm just going to add a little tiny bit. And then I'll also add a little bit of the orange to like warm it up a little bit. I know it's red, but it also that slight orangish red is like looks a little bit better than this like pinkish red, Merlot red. This is almost too blue. it's got like a cool like base to it, and I'm trying to push it toward like the warmer end of the spectrum. It's kind of hard to see it, but you can see like how it looks kind of red on cam, but in person it's like more of a pinkish, almost purple, like a very faint purple. Or so I'm gonna try to warm that up a little bit. It's basically too cool of a red. If you're familiar with like color temperature. Don't want to transfer your dyes into each other, so you always want to clean up between. Looks like this leaked a little bit, so there's a bunch on the side here. I should probably try to collect back into the bottle. So this stuff leaking, it is very strong and will stain everything it touches. And so far, I've only been able to use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, to clean it up. So I don't want it to like leave the container. I probably just didn't put the cap on tight enough one time. And it leaks under the seal, and or this top seal has like too much built up on it, and when you close it, it like goes down through the threading. I'm gonna have to clean my gloves off here. It's also on the top of that the top of the orange container. It's like when it gets wet, how much it spreads. Gotta be really careful using it. I mean, they don't call it so strong dye for nothing. Just a little bit turns that whole thing bright red. Fuck. Basically, once this stuff like leaves the bottle, it's like an infection. You like almost can't get rid of it. You should really upgrade to like the drip bottles and all these colors because they're much easier to control. I'm sure it's not very interesting to watch me clean this, but if I don't, there'll just be problems later on as this dye infiltrates everything it touches. Well, that's house trash. Alright, that should be... If you work with these dyes, do not spill them. I spilled a couple of these once. Fortunately, it was on my work mat here, so I was able to clean it up. Alright, that don't have to be good enough. Jesus Christ. It's also one of the downsides of live streaming is you can't edit out stuff like this. It's just part of live. Where's it coming from? God damn it. Trying to clean a little bit turns into a whole thing. God damn it. Like, I can deal with doing this stuff when it's just me, like it's just a thing that's gonna happen. It's unfortunate that it's during the stream. Fuck. Okay. Well, I guess that's as good as that's gonna get. This towel is basically garbage. Alright, so I'll add a little bit of this orange. It's probably too much. Actually a little brighter than I'd like it to be. I guess it's actually fine.
So I'm going to actually have to add a slight amount of, well, actually, so this is the other foot. These two I'm not going to be using, they're going to be replaced with those, so the brighter red is probably actually better. It's a little closer to that, so we're going to run with that. So we'll measure out the part A. So we do 15 mLs of this. I gotta prime the pressure tank. Okay, so 15 mLs. Okay, so these are ready. I gotta get all my tools ready. So, nice. Scrapers, the injection channel, or injection syringe. Alright, let's assemble these molds. Okay. So we'll inject them in this order. I need a bigger vessel. So use this guy. So we'll scrape the red in first. The red actually turned out pretty nice. It's like a very bright, like candy red. I always try to make sure my measurements are like fairly close. So I usually have to do like 2 passes to get all the resin. clean these tools up real quick. A little back out on this guy. More stuff I can keep clean between like stages. The more likely I can like grab a tool if I need it quickly. I don't have to worry about, oh, is it contaminated or is it like got material on it or whatever. Okay, so these are ready. I got my syringe. I got my cleaning stuff off to the sides. The pressure tank is mostly filled. So I always like gotta do a flight check before I actually mix these together. Everything seems good, so we're gonna get going. Alright, we'll do the scrape on this guy. I'm just trying to get as much of it as I can, because I'm trying to be efficient. Both in like work methodology and use of our material. So I try not to waste it if I don't, or at least make the waste minimal. Okay. Stir this up. It'll get cloudy, but once it cures, it'll become transparent again. It's kind of like clay glazing. If you like glazed ceramics, sometimes your glaze will be like a totally different color than the color it's gonna be once it's cured under the heat. This isn't quite the same. I mean, you're seeing like a variation of the final color. You just gotta trust it's gonna be what it says, you know, on the container, the resin. Okay, so that looks good. We'll scrape this guy off real quick. Again, a big part of like how I work is trying to take care of my tools. I find value in that. Okay, so here we go. Just slow, even pressure. Because you want to let the resin force the air out. You don't want to introduce air as you inject it. Okay, so we got a good bit left here. This looks like it's probably about, actually, that's probably like 8 to 10 mLs. Just looks like it's going between the halves a little bit. Alright, so we got quite a bit more here. So put a little on these guys. When having stuff like a head mold or whatever, something that's like, you know, good to have like multiple versions of. That's also a good like spot to dump extra resin. And I also just take what's left and I put it into these little containers. Always have a plan of what you can do with resin that's left over. This stuff's not great for the environment, so like the less of it you can throw away, the better. Okay, so we're going to put all this stuff into the pressure tank. Okay, so now we're going to clean our tools real quick. We'll try to anyway. So it's really the stuff that is the priority is the tools that were exposed to the mixed silicone or the mixed resin, because that stuff, like, you know, starts to set up. So the quicker you can get it out of those containers, the better. And so far, alcohol, 99% alcohol is the best solvent that I've found for this stuff. It says so on Smooth-On's website, also. So if you need, like, if you want to do cleanup of your things, of your tools and stuff, or just for spills or whatever, like, it's good to know how you clean it up, because you're probably going to have a spill at some point. If it hits fabric, that's pretty much like the fabric's done. So only wear stuff you don't care about. I'm working on a carpeted floor, which is very risky. And I don't love it, but it's the only place that I've got that I can work. Fortunately, alcohol's starting to become available again. I was able to pick up a 12-pack of 16-ounce bottles. It'll be delivered in a couple of days. Okay, so I have these two to clean, then I should be done. Acetone works fairly well too. It just evaporates crazy fast. I mean, this stuff does too, but not as fast as acetone. Once this is cleaned up, we'll do a little bit of sculpting. Well, a little bit of sculpting, a little bit of mold making. Right. I'm trying to get some accessories done to go along with this figure. So I need to get those sculpted. Shit. And then get the molds made. So, but to do that, we obviously have to, like, you know, get the sculpts done first. Give these a quick wipe down. So that's probably good. Set that aside. I want to give these all a quick spray down. I mean, this stuff might be boring to watch, but it's necessary. Well, to me it is. Alright, that's all done. Set these things aside to dry a little bit. Okay, respirators off. Alright, let's see. Okay, so I want to get more done with this. I feel like I'm close. And then he'll need hair at some point. So I have a little bit of sculpting to do on to smooth out some of these surfaces. I need to get my magnifying glasses. These are pretty helpful for like up close stuff. So I have like detail in the ears here that I want to smooth out. This one's looking like pretty good. This one needs a little bit of work. It's kind of sloppy. These ears are made completely out of epoxy sculpt. Just like layered on slowly. And then I do like a little bit of shaping while it's wet. And then this is all, so then I do some of the scraping or the sculpting by just like carving it away. It's pretty hard, so you can like chip away at it to get like the shape more defined. And then go over it with like sandpaper, just smooth it out. The top of the ear is looking good. I was trying to get these ear lobes and whatnot looking better. Trying to blend this into the surface more. Somehow I got a cut in it here. I don't know how that happened. Probably when I was like, when it was still malleable. So I'm going to try to blend that all together.
I got a brush here. I can. Jesus, I'm like knocking literally everything over today. I really hate wearing these gloves. They're such a huge hindrance. They're just necessary when you handle some of this stuff. Actually, I don't need them right now. So I'm not. I was thinking I was gonna mix up some of this epoxy sculpt, and you should definitely wear them when you're using it in its like wet form. But just like while it's cured, it's mostly because it sticks to stuff and it stains. So, but once it's cured, it's fine. Trying to see the surface. It's a little unclear. There's like a little, I'm trying to get rid of this like little bump here. Well, it's more like a hill than a bump, right? I want this to look like there's a little bit of indentation behind it. It's kind of hard to do at this scale. I have to think about like molding it, how it's going to affect like undercuts. How does that feel? It's like it blends in mostly. There's like little bumps here I want to get rid of. So I want it to be like a smooth shape. Just gotta be careful not to put too much pressure on it. I don't want to like actually break the earlobe. And this doesn't need to be like exactly perfect either. I just I put a high like bar on myself, sometimes to a fault. Well, probably often to a fault. Yeah, see how this earlobe has like this notch here, and this one doesn't? I had to make something like that. I'm getting there. I gotta be careful because when I was working on another part of this. I was trying to carve it like this, and I took like a big chunk of it off by accident. So I'm trying to kind of just chip at it slow. Now I'm just trying to create the illusion of like space behind the ear. That looks okay. I'll just sand this a little bit to blend it. Looks like this needs not much, just a little bit of smoothing here. Try to add that space behind a little bit. This ear's in a pretty good spot overall. So it's just like kind of generic or general like smoothing I'm trying to do. A little less I have to try to do with a piece of sandpaper, which can be tough to get into like these tight spots. I mean, for having never sculpted ears before, they look okay. Trying to just define that shadow behind the ear a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay, so next is the eyelids. This is the thing I sculpted most recently. We got like the basic shape here, but they're kind of rough, so I really want to try to refine them. We'll do the same thing with as the ear. I'm just going to kind of scrape lightly try to smooth, first just smooth the surfaces because they're a little rough. So we'll just stay on the same side. We'll do the inner part under by the eye. I mean, these are like very exaggerated for eyelids because they're so like big. But I've also never sculpted eyelids before, so this is how we learn. The brow itself is pretty. Let's see if I get that in focus any better. Okay, I didn't realize it was out of focus. I'm wearing these like magnifier glasses, so the computer view is blurry to me. I have to like look over them to see it. And the camera always tries to autofocus. So sometimes it'll focus where I don't want it to. Sorry if I'm blowing on the mic, it's like right in front of me. This eye's gonna need a little bit of something to smooth it over. This is a bead. These are just plastic beads. So the surface is they've got like this iridescent finish on them. So they're getting a little scratched up. I'm not going to do a bottom eyelid, just like I didn't do an upper lip. So I'm not really going for a photoreal here. I'll just try to do a little better on each sculpt. I just want like something that looks like a human face. So I'll just like very gradual progress. Yeah, there we go. Scrape that whole foil thing off the bead. Just get that out of here. His eyes look creepily more realistic now. The foil, the surface underneath is like a translucent white, so it actually looks more like the sclera of your eye, which is kind of neat. I'm trying to scrape it off this other eye without like scratching the surface underneath too much. This one wasn't coming off as badly. I don't actually need the surface of that eye to be anything in particular, because as long as it's smooth, that's all that matters, because we're trying to capture the texture. Alright, we'll work on this eyelid a little bit. Try to define it a little bit more. We'll do the same thing. We'll try to just smooth it first. Alright, so that right about there is the center of the camera. Okay. It's kind of hard to see it from like my point of view. Trying to just be mindful of where it is so that it's in focus. Alright, I'll work on the outer surface a little bit. Trying to get some of the roughness off of that. This is definitely less rounded than the other one. You really only see it if you're looking up at it, like, let's see, like that. You can kind of see the difference. So it's pretty minor. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Because, like, really, I could just scrape this one down more if I wanted to try to make them match. Let's see. Try to define the fold a little bit. A lot of this is guesstimation too, because with all these different colors here, there's a bit of a clash as far as the appearance of the surface. As in, like, you see the bottom lip, right, and you can think like, oh, that's what it looks like, but it like creates this illusion because it is visually different from the rest as far as like its color and its contrast, even though it might be like, that may not even be a raised surface. You probably couldn't even tell. It could just be a color, but it's not. So you turn it, so you see that lip in its profile, but then you see, oh yeah, it is raised. Because I experimented with a few different materials while sculpting this. So the gray is this is a cast. So it's a cast of a head I made earlier, and I carved out the eye sockets and I reshaped the head a little bit, and then the green is Citadel's green stuff, this like 2-part plastic compound you like mix together, and then it cures into this like mostly hard material, which you can then like carve and sand, and so then it was okay, but it was like a little annoying to work with, just for me. So I had heard good things about Abe's epoxy sculpt, so I went to a local store and bought some of that. And it turns out they only had black, and I didn't notice that when I was buying it. So I brought that home and I tried it out, and I'd never used it before, so it was like a learning experience on its own. And it's interesting stuff. I mean, it's growing on me, but it turned out that like the black it absorbs too much light, so it made sculpting detail kind of difficult, because I only then had like the profile to work with as far as determining the surface. So I went online and looked, and I bought yellow epoxy sculpt. So that's what the yellow stuff is. Because I thought, like, well, if I use a bright color like yellow, I will have both, the profile when I need it, and then I'll get a little bit of the surface light shadow, because there's just more interaction with the light as opposed to just absorbing it. I feel like it's in here, it's kind of rough by I don't know what that's called. That part of your eye. Corner of your eye. Inner corner of your eye. Alright, this one looking a little bit better, and I can still feel it's a little rough there. Can't tell where the roughness is coming from. Must just be part of the original sculpt I didn't carve away. Let's see if sanding helps that at all. I just want to check the general surface, because I added epoxy sculpt to the forehead and the brow recently, so I want to smooth these out. So let's see. This is still a little bumpy. I've said a bunch of times how much I like this old X-Acto as a sculpting tool. And it's because like I can control, it has like different points on the blade of different sharpnesses. So like the very tip is very dull now. And it's also ground down because I ground it down with like a, so you can see it. No, it's still a little blurry. But the back of the blade back here is still kind of sharp. So I can use it to kind of scrape like flat surfaces to do like some smoothing to larger flat surfaces, and then get in with the tip and like scrape around a little bit to try to define the detail. And because it's dull, I have to put more pressure on it to get it to scrape anything, so I'm not like accidentally putting score marks or scrapes into the surface that are unintentional, because it's just not sharp enough to do it. I'm going to try to scrape a little bit of this eyelid off to make them a little bit more even. I'll probably end up ruining it. There's still like a dip back here. Yeah, I can see there's like a chip sitting on the inner part of the lid. I'm gonna try to clean that up. I gotta redefine the lid fold since I flattened it out a little bit. It looks a little bumpy. It could just be the way the material looks though. This being black here, it makes a little bit of uncertainty over how that part of the eye looks, like how defined the lid crease is. So I'll just assume I need to carve a little bit more out of here. I might be getting too aggressive just because I can't really get a good gauge on the surface here. Alright, I'm gonna stop there. I don't wanna accidentally take a chunk of the eyelid off. Actually trying to take a little bit of the lower eyelid off the side. Like it's a little flat, I'm trying to curve it. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like this part here, I'm trying to, it's a little flatter. I'm trying to see if I can get a little bit more of a curve in there without like taking a huge chunk out of this right here, which is what I'm real afraid is going to happen. Because this is the green stuff and it like has a different texture and rigidity to the epoxy sculpt. It's like very slightly soft, whereas the epoxy sculpt is hard. So the epoxy sculpt, I can kind of just scrape the surface slightly until I kind of get the shape that I want. But the epoxy sculpt, or the green stuff, is much different. So it can like come off in chunks. It actually looks better. It's a little bit more round. I just wanted to look like the same amount of like openness. So I'll just try to define this like inner shape a little. I want a nice like seam between the eyelid, well the eyeball, and like the surrounding tissue. So I want it to look like the eye is set into the skull and not just, you know, a rounded surface. I want there to be a little bit of depth, because like it looks better on just like the blank sculpt itself, like before you've painted it. And then I think it could help with painting, as in it gives you like just more things to work with, more surfaces. You don't have to try to fake the depth with paint. I mean, I've seen some amazing painters doing figureheads, and they do a lot of work to make it look realistic. It's looking better. I just want to get the surface to be, I can see like little rises along the curve. Shit. So I'm trying to just kind of get those out of there. I gotta go a sharper one, I think, just to get the gaps getting too deep. Alright, I'm afraid I'll scratch up the eye doing that. So I'm just gonna try using the air compressor so I can blow out some of the dust. It's not exactly, there's still like a little bump right there. I'm trying to get out. I wonder if it's like an optical illusion. Yeah, I inadvertently made this eye more open than this one now. So, gotta carve a little bit more out of this. This is really making me dislike this green stuff. Just because I can't just scrape it away like I can with the epoxy sculpt. Just like behaves totally differently. Like you can sand it okay, but what I'm doing now is like it's coming off in chunks. It's leaving this like bumpy surface behind, which is I think why I'm getting tripped up here. Yeah, I can see it's like rough down in there. I can even feel it. Shit. It's gonna be like impossible to sand. Well, now I noticed to stick with the epoxy sculpt for any like face sculpts. It's easier to manipulate. It's a little slow going on, but like in this stage, it's better. Let's smooth this out. As far as his upper lip, I'm probably just gonna give them like the little indent here. I also gotta define the crease on the mouth. It's probably the last thing I gotta do before this head is done. So I guess we'll do that now. This has green stuff under it, so it's going to be a little clumsy. So now his mouth's crooked, so I have to fix that. Shit. Just put a big cut in there. Green stuff. I can probably sand that out, but it's still annoying. Yeah, this is still like, there's still a big raise here. I'll just taper it down. It'll be okay. feel it. Yeah, right there, there's like a, yep, there's green stuff under it. So I guess I'm gonna try to carve like a slight indent. We'll just give him a pouty lip instead. So let's see. So there's still like a bump right here in the middle. I gotta try to fix. So it may not be that visible here, but once it's all the same color from a cast, it'll be really clear where the surface is like bumpy. So I'm trying to get it like generally smoothed out, where I can go over it with sandpaper and try to, I guess I can give him like a little crease here by his nose. Give him a little. Okay. Alright, his nose looks okay. This stuff here I'll just sand. There's no point in trying to scrape that. Unless there's like just some big bumps sticking up, so I'll just kind of quickly go over them. Yeah. Yeah, the layer of green stuff under here is kind of, I think it's going to be a little bit of a problem. I can at least sand some of it out. I still want to define this lip a little bit more. It needs like an indent, like a groove, like the eyelid has, to indicate there's like some depth there. Let's see, we'll look at this in the profile. There's like a little bit of a bump right there, which I could probably, I don't know if I can get away with that as an upper lip. I think it's too, I don't think it flows. Okay. Okay, I think the rest of that's going to be sandpaper. Except this little divot, or this little bump right here. Is that even a bump? Okay. Alright, I think I can just sand the rest of it. I forget when I put that resonance. I'm gonna say 430. I'll pull it, and then I will I'm gonna then bake it. Okay, so I'm gonna get some water. I'm gonna try to wet sand this guy a little bit. Try to smooth the surface somewhat. Okay. It's probably too rough. I use this to wet sand before. I think I wet sanded something else. Maybe it was the head, I can't remember. Yeah, this is how the X-Acto got dull. Use it to clean like embedded grit in from out of my sandpaper. This is probably still. Alright, so I'm gonna just start with this forehead. I think there's a rise here. I'm trying to look at the silhouette. I guess as long as the transition is smooth, it can look sort of natural. Yeah, see there's little divots right there. Try to scrape some of that away just to smooth it out. I probably missed those when I was sculpting. Or when I was like adding stuff onto fill. I think I might get it worse. Maybe he'll just have character divots in his head. So I feel like the sculpt on this is in a good spot. So I'm going to try to just work on sanding it down to a smooth surface so I can get it into a mold. I'm gonna try to get in here all these like difficult little areas without scraping like the upper surfaces. I think the bottom lip should blend into the face more, and I feel like it doesn't. I mean, it feels like there's a transition there. Maybe it's just there, and like there's like the optical illusion of that color difference. So I'm like in my head, I'm seeing it as a separate color, or a separate surface rather. Wet sanding is another skill I'm having to learn. It does seem to help though. Again, this is like the first time I've ever sculpted anything like this, so I can't be like too hard on myself about the result. The fact that I got this far is still pretty good. And that it looks like, you know, a human head. Everything's in like pretty decent proportion. This side's kind of a mess, so it's going to take a little bit more work to smooth it out. I think the next sculpt where it's all like the same epoxy sculpt, I think it'll be a little easier. Hey, thanks, Tacitus. Just doing my best, you know. And like, so much of this is like a learning process for me too. I think that's a little too, like there's a bump there. Yeah, I've been trying to get this thing to like a stage where I feel like it's finished, so I can actually get it like in a mold. I feel like I'm at a point where I have to just like say like it's good enough and move forward with it instead of just tweaking it forever. I mean, like, I think a lot of creatives would agree where they're like, you just get to a point where you're like, it's good enough because you could just work on it forever. At some point, you have to just ship it. And I've done that in other like projects I've worked on where I'm like, this is good enough. So like this shouldn't be any different. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's never gonna be as perfect as it is in your mind. Unless you're I feel like even like masterful artists have that same struggle. There's always something they could do differently or better. Or what if I had, you know, done it in this orientation or in this style instead, and you could always go back and tweak it. So you gotta just like say it's done at some point. I think this year is definitely worse than the other one. I don't know. They're each different. The finished product will always be awesome and amazing, but your imagination always allows for an infinite amount of complexity. Yeah, that's 100%. You know, I think anyone who like works on something that they care about, um, it can get to that point. Like you can be, you know, proud of what it is, and also be like, I couldn't do anything else with it because I had to just put it down. I think this can be a little bit deeper. See, I'm doing it now. I'm like, oh, this is fine. Except this could be. This is like not as it's not as like deeply defined as the other ear. Just took a chunk off. Okay. Just gotta be careful not to like get crazy with it. Shit. Gotta be careful I don't like screw it up by doing this. I might be able to start the mold today. It depends when I actually feel like this thing is done. I'll have to do a couple more passes of sanding on it. Because I don't want the surface to be like too rough. I always try to go for like a fairly like smooth like glossy type surface. I have another mold I want to start this one as soon as I can too. I think it's just gonna be a little bit more work, like prep work, I guess, finishing work. Okay, that's a little bit better. Shit. It like skips over the side and puts a freaking scratch in it. They don't have to be good enough. I feel like I could work on this ear forever now. Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to smooth this down some. I don't know if I'll get enough of this done to start the mold. I'll try though. I do want to get it molded soon. It's like the third iteration of a head I've made, so it'd be cool to like have it available. Maybe I should use this rougher stuff for the inside of the ear. Try to form the surface a bit more. Cat hair everywhere. I think I can smooth the rest of it out. This ear, it's not a canal, but like this inner ear shape is proving to be a little difficult to sand. So I might have to just try to smooth this out with X-Acto instead. This ear won't always be visible, so I shouldn't spend like an insane amount of time on it. There's some like bumpiness in the inner part of this this hooked part, and I'm trying to just smooth that out so I can move on. I know there's a bunch of like X-Acto bits for sanding. I'm like afraid they're like gonna take off too much. I guess it's how much pressure you apply. It all feels fairly smooth. This back part of the neck is not that smooth yet. Cat hair infiltrating everything. It's like, it must have been on the towel that I used. It's like a divot right there. I don't know if I can, maybe I can scrape a little bit of that away. That'll have to be good enough. See if I can get to like the next sanding pass. Maybe I can get closer to start the mold on this. I don't know if I can get the rest of this foil off here. Maybe if I scrape like kind of slowly. Like it'll leave a texture if I don't remove it. It's not like the eyes aren't going to get painted, so it probably doesn't matter. There we go. Got it. Got it. But I guess I could just use the air compressor. Okay, so what do we see here? There's a big divot right there. Let's see if that got smoothed out. There's like a divot right there. Looks like it's mostly gone. There's some scratching here. I'm gonna try to get rid of that. Actually, I gotta try to get like in here where the brow is. Still a couple little bits here on the eye. That looks better. You have to do a lot of like cleaning before I try to mold this. There's little bits getting stuck everywhere. Little bits of dust and stuff. There's a little bit of roughness here, like in the corner of the nose. I can't see that at all. Okay. Yeah, just a like rough texture in the face here. Looks like that helps a little bit using the air compressor. It like blows the dust around and then it also seems to dry it, revealing like where some of the surface defects are. Some of it's probably an optical illusion. I guess worst case is like it's got like rough texture, and then I can paint or seal the surface to smooth it out, and then remold it to get a smoother texture, a smoother skin texture. Didn't actually think I'd spend this long on this head. Just like in general, not so much just today. I'm sure I'm being a little too perfectionist about it. I think it's getting close to being done though. There's some texture on the bottom I can smooth out. Yeah, this will probably just end up being like a 2-pass piece. Where I cast it, I mold it, and then look for like things I don't like and fix them, and then remold it. And that's fine. This one's much sharper, so I can get in and get some of that like dust that's stuck in that crease. Just gonna stay away from the surface of the eye. This thing has so many unfinished surfaces. When I made the original sculpt, that I like cannot tell like what's unfinished and what's just like the materials all kind of blending together. Yeah, I think a 2-pass is gonna be like what I have to do. So I think as long as there's like all these clashing colors, I'm gonna be like triple guessing myself and always finding something wrong with it. I think I just need to mold it and see how it turns out. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be helpful. Alright, that'll be the guy. I can see his eyes are like 2 different widths now. It's gonna bug me. Hooray! Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that initial sculpt was like very asymmetric, so I shouldn't be surprised. Put my spectacles away for now. Time is at 4:30 almost. Okay, let's I'm gonna pull these casts and I gotta put them in the oven. Okay, so I'm yeah, these are all still soft, so I'm gonna bake all this stuff. Well, not that one. Then pop this all in the oven. Okay. Oops. Make sure we're in focus. What's with the camera today? Need something to focus on. Okay. So I've got like a few molds I want to work on. So like that head is one right now, so I got to figure out how I'm gonna mount this thing. Okay. Got some junk left over on this thing I gotta scrape off. This needs some keys, so I'm gonna put those in. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna start doing some experiments with glove molds, where you've got like a thinner silicone mold that has like a another different backing, something that's like more rigid. So I'll probably use plaster. And it's like, it saves you material, and it saves like, it doesn't really save time. It probably costs you time, if anything. So it's like everything's a trade-off, right? But like you have more control over like the mold as far as the shape and the size. Like when you mold big stuff, you basically have to do a glove mold. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm just putting the keys in so that the two halves can fit together. I haven't really figured out the outer part. Actually, this may not even be a full mold. It might just be a one part, because I really just need this surface. I don't need like the whole thing. So I may not even do it back to this mold. I don't know yet. Okay, so then this, I think I have to mold it like I did the other head mold that's in the oven, where it's, so if this is the bottom, it's like angled, So it'll fill here and everything will vent up toward the top and out. So there'll be like a fin that runs along the back here to help air escape, and then probably another one like here, since there's a little, like, I don't know, nook in there. I need to redesign this whole post here anyway. This thing's not round, and the neck joint's not round either, but it's fine. It gets the job done for now. It's little improvements over time, not giant improvements at once. Alright, so I'm going to build a base for this thing. And this I could probably do the glove mold. So I'll probably design this the same way I designed the other molds. I'm just going to, when it comes to the silicone, that'll be different. But I think the shape of the mold's going to be similar. Let's see, so I want it to be up like this. I could probably get away with just putting the venting back here at that angle. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll try to minimize the venting too. Where's my knife? Just gotta figure out where I want the parting line to be. It should run like along. So I could run the parting line. Let's see, where's the pencil? So it's gonna be half, like, along the side here. Where do I want it to go? I could probably bring it like back here instead of around the top, so I can still feel the seam there. So if I make this parallel to the floor, oh, it's crooked. I draw that here, like from the ear out. There's a divot right there. I can feel it with the pencil. So then here's the. I can't see this. Okay. So if it comes out from the ear, that's not bad. So I could go from like the crest of the ear around. It's like fairly level. Like up behind the ear. And then up the side. So around the ear. this side. Shit. So this could curve a little bit. Okay, so there's the parting line. I think it's good to plan that out a little earlier than later. Actually, I don't know if that ear is going to be a good parting spot. Like it's not going to have adequate space around it. I guess I could just raise it. Raise this back line. So I want space around the ear because I want it to be contained. So this will come down. Curve into here. This will come around the back of the ear. It shouldn't make a big difference. Well, it should make it easier to implement. Just cover the ears instead of trying to build up like right to the edge. Follow that line around the bottom. I gotta fill this hole. use some of this brown clay. This stuff's good for filler and whatnot. Where's that, this thing? Right, there we go. Takes care of that. Didn't need like an open hole in the back. Okay, so let's see, I need to come up under here. Done with that. Gotta fill in that space. Or this disc. Okay, so I need to attach the vents and stuff to it. So let me build those. Okay, not in there. So I got some scrap here I can use. So I want this to go like this. Yeah. Actually, I know what I want. This thing's great for working fast, even if it doesn't make a huge mess. Okay. Let's see, you need to sand this into the shape that I want. Sometimes it's just faster to use machinery. Okay, so I was just shaping this into a more cylindrical shape. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was like pieces that had been hacked together, so it wasn't exactly close to round. This is going to be the injection channel, so I'm just trying to get this like shaped how I want. Trying to just make all the parts like just fit together better and a little cleaner. Even things like this. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so we'll glue this guy onto here. So it's going to fill from the bottom. So I just need to glue this on. So I get my accelerator. Need a little cup for it. What up, Splinters? Just a quiet day on ye old stream today. Sorry, I'm just cleaning glue off a bottle. Alright. I was planning to stream Wednesday. I know there's like the inauguration or whatever, but that should be over before I start streaming. Unless there's like chaos in the streets, then who knows. I mean, I gotta see when it airs so I can watch the madness. Well, hopefully no madness. Hopefully it's just a boring inauguration and not like a... Yeah, maybe. I might have to like day drink for that, I don't know. Catalyst is a shit. Yeah, I thought it was like mid-afternoon on the East Coast, like 1 or some 10 or 1 or some shit like that. I thought it was like 1 p.m. I don't know why that's stuck in my head as a time, but okay. So yeah, that'll be 10 a.m. here. So yeah, I mean it shouldn't be more than 2 hours. So that's like way before I'd normally start streaming. So like, it just depends if there's chaos here, or, you know, places or not. I put like this thin stuff on. I just sand down a thicker piece. I mean, I'm hoping it's quiet and boring, and there's no like idiots in the streets. So if I put this on, so it's got to be not like this. Okay, so it'll be something like this. I don't know if I need to be drinking at like 10 a.m., but I mean, that's a pretty good reason to do it. Yeah, right. Inauguration brunch sounds like a good idea. I'm sure I could talk someone into it. Let's see. Almost. We'll just do the rest by hand. So what are everyone's thoughts on Wednesday? We think it's going to be quiet? Or do you think it's going to be Idiot Central in DC. Yeah. There's always dummies. Always dummies. I mean, you would think with, like, have you guys read any of the, like, crazy QAnon, like, conspiracy theories about Wednesday? They're, like, totally insane. I've read a few of them on, well, they're mostly all variations on the same thing. So if you've read one, you've probably seen all of them, or you're familiar with them. These people are all insane. I don't know how they believe any of the shit that they do. Like, how do you go down that road? I mean, if you've read anything about, like, the QAnon plan, it's hilariously insane. Like, basically they think this is all like a big plan, and Trump's gonna, like, you know, leave on Air Force One and then, like, come back with, like, the National Guard and take everyone into custody and set up a tribunal and, like, expose the Satanist conspiracy. That's, like, so ridiculous. He thinks so they're like all like, no, it's still part of the plan. This was all, yeah, this is the plan, right? He's, like, supposed to lose and then come back and, like, martial law and blah blah blah. I don't know how they let themselves believe it. Yeah. A sign of lack of intelligence. You just gotta trust in the plan, bro. I'm curious how many people are gonna stick with Trump after all this stuff ends up being fake. Or, well, not, like, being anything. If I wonder if I still like defend him. I can only assume. Come on. Okay, so there's that. Yeah. Spread out this glue a little bit. Shit, come on. Come on, come on. So every bottle of this glue I buy, it's like I get like a third of the bottle out of it before it basically becomes useless. Alright, I guess that's gotta be enough. Where's my... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Just love making fucking mistakes over and over again. Yeah, I feel stupid a lot. Things that are avoidable make me feel stupid. Like, got all over this mold, and that's what I was most annoyed about, because now it's all like, it's basically melting it. Just create work for myself. Oh, that's gotta dry now. Okay. But beating myself up is easy. I'm so good at it. Let's see, I need something to vent this into. Use that. Fair. That doesn't work. Well, yeah, I gotta. Just thinking about what I need to do here. So I want it to be venting into here. That's not the right angle. I guess I could just cut part of this off, maybe. No. Yeah, I'll just cut part of it off. Okay, so I could do that. Now it's gonna cut part of that side off. So if it goes on like this. So. Okay. Just trying to get like the shape for this thing. Okay, so that works. see, so this goes here. That's not right. Okay, so that's all secured. So I'm gonna build the rest of this mold now. So this is all one piece, right? Yeah. So I want what up, Sabertooth? Just missed me making my daily screw up. Let's see, so we're gonna build like a wall around this thing. So I'm gonna do, I finished the sculpt on this head. Well, I got it to a point where I feel like it's decent. So I'm gonna do like I'm gonna try doing a glove mold. Yep. Try to get my screw ups in early. So I got that head to a point where I felt like it looked okay. I just was I didn't really sculpt anything new. It was mostly just like refining the stuff that was already there. So I'm gonna try doing a glove mold with this. I want to see if I can start moving in that direction. Yep. Making things difficult, that's what I do. Just ask my partner. If you're not making things difficult for yourself, are you even living? Alright, sounds good, Tacitus. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, damn. Yeah, it seems like people aren't too thrilled with that game after all the hype. What am I looking for? This one? Yeah, it's not even at that point yet. I need where's that? Of course it's buried. What's like the gist of the, I guess the meat of their complaints is like I don't know enough about the game to like really probably get it, and I wasn't following the development. So a lot of it would probably go over my head. Comparing to the old GTA Saints Row. Oh yeah, I've only played Saints Row 3 and I think like GTA 3, so I haven't even played like San Andreas. And I liked Saints Row. I haven't finished it, but I enjoy playing it. I haven't played 4 yet. But I could see that being like a good comparison. When you've got like these established games and you're not even like doing better than like a 10-year-old game. Lies like decisions will affect the story, which they don't. I've never seen a game actually do that. I don't think it's actually possible. Like, I mean, I know it's possible, but like the technical difficulty to do that is like pretty significant because you can't like randomly generate a story that makes sense. So it's not like you can have, you know, dynamic story generation based on the player interaction. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be good. So you'd still have to like plan out branching stories, and it would just end up like a which way book. Yeah. It's like you're either a movie or you're a game. Like, pick a lane. And like, the only achievable way I can think of where you would have a story generated dynamically would be like you basically develop personalities for every NPC in the game, where they've got like full backstories and motivations and stuff, and then like the things that your character does affect them. It's just like such a huge undertaking. And if you can predict models, like if you can build a model that not predicts, but like reacts like that, that's probably a way better like marketing tool than a game. But yeah, it does seem like the lie that like developers like to tell, that like what you're doing affects the story when it doesn't, and it can't really, just by like the definition of the medium. It took a $7 million Polish federal grant on the promise they would develop new technology. Oh my god. Yeah, that sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, like, games are just never going to be the storytelling medium that people think they can be. The technology is just not there. I mean, the idea is cool, but the execution is massive. Or you probably lose money on the game no matter what, just for the amount of time and money it would take to build something like that. It seems like games making promises and then failing to fill those promises is pretty common anymore. Send me a DM. I'll take a look at it. It's probably interesting, even though, like, you know, I know crap about the game based on like what you've said. So this goes back here. I'm trying to figure out how to make this into a glove mold. I want to try doing that now. This is a small enough mold that I can kind of experiment with that. Yeah, I can see that. They're probably, I don't know. There's probably such a financial investment that like they needed to get something out, or like it was gonna be financial problems for the company. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about their situation, so I shouldn't really say that. But yeah, they probably could have waited. I mean, player as beta tester seems to be like, well, I'm sorry, customer as beta tester seems to be like the way games are designed now. Alright, this is probably good for the backside. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that's good for them. Except for this grant situation. I mean, not being beholden to anyone is really the best way to develop anything like new. If you can afford it. Okay, so let's see. I should work on. I should just work on the parting line. So I could probably do that now. This one's fine. Is that too? Yeah, it's too low on this side. I had to recast the pelvis parts for the third time. So I did that earlier in the stream. They're like in the, I put them in the oven to finish curing, so I gotta go pull those here shortly. They should be cool enough now. See if they came out any better. Well, if it comes out without breaking or bending, like unlike the last two. Well, the first one came out, but then it like broke the next day, which was frustrating. I'm actually gonna replace. I think, I don't know. I like was trying to put the like Y connector thing on, and the peg just snapped off. So that's the first time that's happened. So I don't know if it was just like I didn't mix them thoroughly enough, or maybe baking it like made it brittle, which doesn't seem like it would. So what I actually am gonna do is so that like that central peg, this is what happened here. So like this, okay, I'll just get these two out so you can see them. So this peg snapped off here. I need to be able to focus it. Well, you can see where it should have been. And then the recast, I put it in the oven, and it came out like bent. So like what I think I'm gonna do is on the next iteration of these pelvis things, I'm gonna replace that plastic rod. I'm gonna replace it with a metal rod. So I'm gonna switch to this. So I'll refactor the inside where there's just two like sockets, and you'll just put a rod in through the Y part and then put it all together, and it'll just be like a stronger part anyway that way. So I'm gonna try that out and see if that is any better. Yeah, I was thinking of a tougher resin. The stuff I'm using is supposed to be like high impact, not brittle, and it's been mostly good. So maybe it's getting too old. I don't know. So it just made me think more about like maybe I should just, since that's a stress point as far as like, you know, it supports the legs, and maybe I should just replace it with something stronger. So if I can replace it with metal, I guess I'll just do that. Let's see. This doesn't do anything. This doesn't work either. Maybe this one. I've been thinking about replacing a couple points with metal rods anyway. So this just kind of pushed me over the edge to do it. It's not exactly the same size, but I would use them also in the mold to make the Y part, which then gets cast around the pegs I put in. And it's already got polystyrene rods that are in it, so I'll just replace those. So it'll still be like a good fit on the part, like the finished part. So I'll keep going on this with the pelvis I've got now, but I'm just gonna refactor it when on the next iteration, like whatever that's gonna be, because I'm not that far yet as far as thinking about what it's gonna be. And it gets me into thinking about like, you know, where can I incorporate like metal parts for more strength or whatever. So It's not like a bad thing. And I could buy the rods. You can buy them online, or you can. A lot of hobby stores carry like metal parts, just like metal stuff. So I picked up one to experiment with, and then if I like it, then I'll just go and buy like a stack of them. It's like one less point of failure, you know? And I'm always trying to find like ways to improve, you know, the work techniques or like the product or whatever, so it's good. I've been thinking about like how to use magnets. So that's like another thing I'm tooling around with in my head. I'm thinking about it for like accessories and helmets and hair and stuff like that. I haven't pulled the gun buying any yet. Yeah, I guess I could cold cast metal too. I hadn't thought about that. But these are like, the rod is like $1.50. So if I get like a dozen pegs out of it, that's a pretty good like cost, you know. So I'm just clipping the peg. I just clip it off or saw it or whatever, sand the ends down to smooth them. Done. If I get into like more complex parts, I could see maybe trying out cold casting. It'd be cool just to like mess with it too, just to see like what it's like, and what the results are like, and then think about like applications for it. Because yeah, sometimes plastic's not strong enough, so even like a cold cast metal could be better. This is supposed to be covered, so I don't want this to actually be surrounded by today is like not my day. Everything's like falling over and being dropped. And it could be worse. That could be Donald Trump. Let's see. Oh, it's the other end. Nope. Yeah, I haven't read too much on cold casting, so I'm not really sure what's involved with it. I don't know, is it like a metal powder, or is it just like a low... I guess it's not a low temp metal, because then it would still be like, you know, casting metal. I assume it's like a powder you would put into like a resin. sure there's cool applications for it in regard to this hobby. We're looking at MOTU cartoons. The King Rander's amulet doesn't show details. Trying to think what will be on it for a toy. Huh. I'd assume it'd be like a family crest or something, right? Because he's actually from Eternia. Is there like a crest in the castle anywhere? I don't even remember. It's probably not something that was called attention to. Okay, yeah, so that's what I thought Cold Castle was. Good to know. Okay. So you're thinking about it as like, oh, you're thinking of it as something to like give out for like a Little League award, or are you thinking that that's what he would be on his? Because I could see an argument for both. Eternia Princess Pageant. Like, we get it. You're a king, but you're not a queen. I love it. I love the parody stuff you're thinking of. There's not enough of that. Everyone's trying to be all serious. Like, how do you take Masters of the Universe seriously? I don't understand. Like, I like it, but it's pretty hokey. I'm firmly in the camp that if you can't make fun of the thing that you like, then you don't actually like it that much. But I mean, I guess that, like, oh yeah, It's really just the names, you know? Like, the world is actually pretty cool. Like, I always loved the blend of, like, fantasy and sci-fi stuff together. It's really just a lot of the names that are hokey. Because, like, the world is what really drew me in as a kid, not like any particular character. And I, like, was exposed to it through, like, the mini comics, because I got a figure before I ever saw the show. So I had, like, you know, um, the very first mini comic where he, like, fights the sea monster, and Skeletor, like, turns on his his guys, and he, like, bakes Merman in the sun. Like, he's just an asshole. Um, but I just thought the world was cool. I never really. I mean, I watched Filmation growing up, but the, like, mini comics world is, like, what to me is the cooler aspect of it. It's the hardcore killer gear, but never hurting anyone that gets caught. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like everyone's, like, armed, right, and no one ever gets, like, injured. Alright, so what am I gonna do with this? I gotta build out more of the sides. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, the mini comics were awesome. I mean, the early ones were. They got, like, hokier as they went on. But the early batch was really good. I guess that's kind of like what I'm doing with these things. It's like I'm thinking about, you know, the character potential and stuff, and, like, of the figures and whatnot. And I just like that sci-fi barbarian stuff. So, like, you know, I'm using, like, MOTU as a base, but it's really, like, the sci-fi barbarian stuff that I'm kind of, like, paying homage to. Backstories, not yet. Because, like, the first batch has been, like, you know, kind of a nod to, like, the base characters from MOTO, and I was still planning on doing, like, you know, a trap jaw or something, because he was always cool. This, like, cyborg half. I guess he's not a zombie, but I mean, he, like, looks like it, right? Um, I haven't gone as far as thinking about story yet. I'm not a great storyteller. I I love a good story, but I don't think that's my wheelhouse creatively. I think I just, like, didn't read enough, so I, like, don't have the greatest, like, story ideas. Um, Mini comics would be cool. I mean, it's a lot of work to do something like that. I'd almost need like another artist to do that. But I mean, a story would be cool. It's probably something I should think about, just for like, just to give it kind of its own. Oh yeah, yeah. I hated how dumb all the characters were. It made them even like less. They weren't even villains. They were just like a joke. Yeah, I think I'm just not deep enough into like having characters yet, to think about story. Because really, you know, the first batch was all kind of just like knockoffs, so I haven't thought about like original characters yet. I thought about because I want to mess with like making fake magic cards for like that I can just use to play. So I putter around with that every now and then. So I thought it could be cool to do like a trading card thing, like instead of a mini comic, like each figure comes with a trading card with like, you know, a little bit of their like backstory or something on it. I thought about doing them in like Magic style, where they have like, you know, like kind of like the old stats cards from like the '90s, where like trading cards had like the character's stats on them. But instead of just doing straight up stats, it was like designed as like a, you know, a knockoff of Magic with using these characters or whatever, just to give it something to kind of blend things that I like together and take a little different approach than like, you know, making a mini comic, because that's very like MOTU is having mini comics. So I thought trading cards could be cool. Yeah, the G.I. Joe cards were cool. I liked that they came with that like cellophane that like revealed secret information about them. It was very cool. It's funny, like wanting to do this stuff for years. You know, it was always like, oh, it'd be cool if I could, and then like now that I'm kind of doing it, I'm like, damn, this is a lot of work. And then we're talking about, you know, pack-ins and story expansion, and I like in my mind I like barely got past the figures, you know. So now I'm having to like think about all that stuff, which is good because it keeps like it keeps it fresh. There's always like some angle to think about. A little intimidating too, but you know, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Alright, so I gotta make this a little bit bigger because I'm gonna use rebound to build this. So I need to have like an adequate like lip around the top where the two halves will like meet. And I'm gonna have to start building the box up. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I'm gonna go pull that mold from earlier and see how that came out. Well, because since we're close to like the end. Okay. So they're still a little warm. So they might still be a little too soft. I guess they have to cool off completely before they're like not malleable anymore. So we'll pull the other ones and I'm just gonna have to just leave the pelvis stuff in there until it cools down. This thing, I need to cut the top of this off. This thing's like too tall. Alright, that'll make that a little easier. Or not. So this is the front, right? Yeah. Nope, that's the back. I didn't spray mold release in here. It's probably part of the issue. This red's been looking a little bit better. It was like very like wine like. But this cast and then the previous one I did, it's like much brighter, which is nice. No, it's not new. I mix so to get this color, I mix this, a little tiny bit of, it's like 4 drops of this, a small amount of this, like a millimeter basically of the tip of that other syringe, and then like a millimeter of this orange to get this color. So it's looks like a little bit of practice, and I can get like a more like candy red. So that's been nice, because I thought it was. I mean, I still kind of want to get another red dye, because it's the color I've had the most like trouble with. But just seeing these come out like nicer, like brighter, has been nice. Alright, so these are hands. I just needed to like use the excess resin. So let's see what these look like, because I don't actually have like bright red hands for this guy. Lots of flashing, but still not too bad. The parts look good. I think a cool version of Trapjaw could have been something like where he's like almost like a necromancer, but he uses technology instead. So he like makes his minions from like scrap parts and dead soldiers. Could be cool. Should probably cut access channels in this. Actually, I think I can just twist these off. Oh yeah, I'll have to check that. I'll have to look for some of that. I've seen like, back in the like early 2000s, back when conceptart.org was still around. I mean, I guess it has been around, but it like went under recently. This guy Mark Jurjevic, like DJRUDJ or something. He like did this series of like Masters characters, and they were all like brutalist, like super brutal, very metal. They were really cool. I've got like, I saved like I saved like pages of the, well, yeah, like the descriptions and whatnot, because I didn't know like, you know, how long it was going to be up, and now it's like all gone. But they're super cool. If you haven't seen them, I'll dig them out and send them to you. They're awesome. Did that twist off? Fuck, I think I pulled like a big chunk of that off. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I assume they made like the rounds in some of the Masters groups. But I loved all that kind of stuff. You know, all this like, I don't know, just like more intense designs. Just much cooler than like the stuff that, you know, it seems a lot of Masters fans like. I mean, I don't know about you, but like I was exposed to like Conan and stuff like as a young kid via my dad. So then, you know, MOTU was just like, it was like Conan but cooler because they had like, you know, sci-fi stuff in them. These look pretty good. These thin parts are still kind of soft, so I'm leery of taking these out of the molds yet and having another like bent part. So I'm just gonna wait till they cool down. I guess I could go toss them in the fridge for an hour. Oh, don't snap. You want to improve the many faces. The toy sculpt leans toward a more brutal character. I could see that, yeah. Because he's like, someone else did that to him, didn't they? Like, he's like basically a victim. And he's like got multiple personalities and, yeah, it seems like pretty intense for like a kid show character. Oh, okay, I'll have to look for those documents. See if I can find those. Yeah, the character designs are really good for like, and it's got to be like part of what helped them stick around for so long. It's just how good the designs are. Look at his neck and chest. His neck, chest skin is pulled up over the edge of his helmet. What? How have I never seen that? Or not looked that closely? Yeah, he's on my list as far as like another character I would like to do, but that's like a more involved mold. But like based on what you're saying here, now I really want to do it and like focus on that stuff. The like the really monstrous part of him. This is on the classic one, or I'm sorry, the vintage one. I know there's like a whole line called classics, so. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Alright, so this is all. I'll trim these guys down later. That's why I like learn something new every time, like every stream that you're on. Something always comes up and I'm just like, what? Or you like give me some good tip about something. No, it's cool. Like that, I've like told my my partner, like part of the joy that I had like when I was younger about collecting comics and reading comics and stuff was like all the speculation. Oh, we're talking about Star Wars because like we've rewatched the the first two trilogies, and I told her about like why part of why like the Phantom Menace sucked and how like they spoiled the mystery of the Force and all that, and I had said that like reading comics and stuff, part of the fun, at least for me, was like the speculation. You just like talk about the story and the characters and like what could happen and what if this happened, and so like it's cool to see you seeing that in the sculpt, because it's like a whole other. Damn, there's a fucking air bubble right there. It's like a whole other part of the story that's like probably not even supposed to be there, but like it like spoke to you in that way, so that's really cool. That's part of what makes this, to me, that makes sci-fi and fantasy and these like fantastic situations like interesting, is like all the like what if and delving into the story and the characters' backgrounds, and it's like sometimes I don't want everything told to me. I want to like think about it and imagine like what could be. Alright, so there's that, all that stuff does look pretty good. I feel like I barely got anything done today. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that. Do you have that, that, isn't there a book about, like, the whole, like, making of like what went on like at the company and stuff as they were like being developed. It's with all like it has all those sketches and stuff in it. I thought there was like a book that had all that in it that came out like, I don't know, a few years ago. I'm gonna have to look up some of that art tonight, because now I'm like really interested in this Manny Faces stuff. Just that's like really cool, like potential that's being lost over time. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna Google around for that stuff tonight. Let's see what I can find. I think this one can come out. Okay, so that half is out. Yeah, this guy's still too soft. It's like super bright red too. How's that gonna look against the... let me find the arms. So which of these do you think is better? Like, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but like between these colors, so there's this like smoky red and this bright red. For that like anti-Eternia style guy, what do you think is better, the like dark red or this like brighter red? So there's like, I basically got two different, well, those are two different reds too. Yeah, Robotech is awesome. I watched a lot of Robotech growing up. I watched it again like on Netflix a few years ago, and it holds up. It's the first like the Rick Hunter story is really good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, as long as this pelvis comes out okay for the third time now, this guy should be, well, the main figure will be done. I want the head that goes with it to be this head. So I gotta finish this mold. I gotta finish the sword mold, and then did you see this? That I'm like working on this thing. I'm gonna mold this thing, and I'm gonna combine it with parts off of. I'm gonna mold this, and then I'm gonna make like a new chest armor, and I want to keep this clear. I was thinking about I could like make different crusts and stuff for this, so that could be kind of cool. Yeah, I wanna try to have some fun with it. Like, make it kind of, themed around like the anti-Eternia He-Man, but also kind of keep it like flexible so I can do some other stuff with it too. It should be pretty fun. Okay. Well, Okay, well, I can't really do a whole lot else right now. Like, I gotta do more work on this mold. These need to cool, and I gotta do, like, more trimming on the parts I just cast, and some of the other parts I've got, in the bin here. So, I guess I'm just gonna call it here. Cool. Thanks for stopping by, man, as always. It's always fun chatting with you. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on, hopefully, Wednesday, as long